For him to be trying to impact our elections, he has to be held accountable.
650 KTRS. We're joined with Maggie Rulli, ABC News correspondent from Washington, D.C. Good morning, Maggie.
Good morning. It's a busy day here in Washington.
We seem to be talking about Russia like we did in the old days, back in the Cold War. They're on everyone's mind.
You know, it's true. And the back and forth between Russia and the U.S. government now has been going on, well, like you said, since the Cold War. But with this hacking controversy, we first heard about this months ago, and now it's coming to light that potentially it was even more sinister than I think we thought in the beginning.
How confident are they that they, being the CIA or those on the inside, that hacking actually occurred and that it was meant to influence the election?
The recent CIA report that came out just on Friday said they had high confidence that not only did Russia, a foreign agency, hack into the U.S. and top party affiliations, but that they also tried to influence the vote by only releasing information from the DNC and not the RNC. Now, it should be clarified, it's come up a couple times this morning, that it wasn't a hack on any type of voter system or any type of voter count, but it was a hack more on information that was released to try to sway voters in the U.S. to vote for a certain candidate.
There are members of the House and Senate that are ready to start hearings. Mm-hmm. Is that correct?
Exactly. Once this was released, both members of the House and Senate, and now also President Obama, came out saying we need to get to the bottom of this. Particularly in Congress, they said we know that the parties are kind of pointing fingers at each other. We have the Trump transition team saying it's not true. We have them blaming the Democrats for releasing this news of the report to the media. But within the Congress, they said, take party out of it for a second. These are allegations, highly confident allegations from our top Central Intelligence Agency saying that a foreign actor, a foreign government, not only hacked the U.S. government, but did so trying to influence our election. And this is something that, forget what party you're in, we need to get to the bottom of what happened. So now, as you mentioned, there are bipartisan investigations that are trying to be launched in both the House and the Senate to get to the bottom of exactly what happened.
Given that, how in the world does the new administration seem to laugh off or dismiss these allegations?
It's a good point, and one I think that we have to follow closely. It's very interesting and somewhat unprecedented to see the president-elect, incoming president, having such a public rift with the CIA before he even takes office. But it should also be noted that, Reince Priebus, as incoming chief of staff, former RNC chairman, has said the RNC was never hacked, that he has direct knowledge of this. He was, heading up the RNC when these allegations came out, and he was never hacked. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out going forward. Now, the Obama investigation that President Obama is calling for into the hacking, he wants it done before January 20th, before Trump takes office, so that Trump then has to deal with the ramifications of this report. Can it happen? It's a pretty tight timetable. It's a month and a half, but I think there's a lot of motivation behind making sure that report is finished before Trump takes office.
Any idea what President Obama intends to do with the report? Is it something that would be public, private?
Yeah, we're not sure yet. The White House spokesperson has come out saying they don't know if it'll be made public. I think it'll be important to see what does happen with that report. It's being dubbed sort of a lessons learned report, trying to figure out what went wrong and what exactly happened. It could be made public. We have some history in the past. If you remember the Sony hack, much of that information was made public, showing people exactly how they linked the investigation and how they tied North Korea to that hack. And so there is some precedent for it, but it'll be interesting to see what exactly happens before January 20th.
Is there any concern in Washington these days that Russia's gaining far too much influence in this upcoming administration?
I think there's always concern of foreign agents gaining that kind of access to any administration, and particularly with Vladimir Putin right now and sort of his past few years' history of ramped up aggression and public lies. I think Russia is definitely something that everyone within the current administration, the future administration, the Central Intelligence Agencies are looking at. And then you have the incoming administration, which obviously there's been a lot of reporting around Donald Trump and some of his rhetoric involving Vladimir Putin when he was running for presidency. And now we have his potential Secretary of State having some ties to Russia. And so I think there's some valid heightened awareness around the Trump presidency and their relationship with Russia. Nothing yet to maybe cause great concern, but definitely something that people are keeping their eye on.
And finally, if these hearings do occur, is there any indication how quickly that will happen?
No exact indication. We do know from President Obama that he wants his wrapped up before Donald Trump takes office. Again, kind of a tight timeline, about a month and a half from now. But there's quite a bit of motivation to make sure that it happens.
Maggie Rulli, ABC News correspondent from Washington, D.C., thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
Have a good one.
It is 6:56 KTRS. It is 34 degrees. The